Good evening. I am Daksh. I'm the founder of Blub World magazine. We work on the focus of finding inspiration within teenagers for teenagers. We work on the concept of teens inspiring teens. First of all, welcome all of you to the Blub World's Web Talks 41st edition. Today is the 41st episode. Before this, we have done nearly 40 such web talks. And the only difference between the last ones and this one is that average on each call, there are around 10 principals, but today there are only 3 or 4. So it's a much cozier setting today. So good, we'll have a better discussion. So in the last 40 web talks, more than 400 school leaders have participated in these web talks and shared their opinions and ideas and innovations that they are doing in their schools during the lockdown. And at the same time, what do they think the changes that will occur or come in the post-lockdown school? So there's a very small observation that I want to share with all of you. After talking to so many people, there's one thing that we know for sure. The concept or the idea of a school, the way we know it, the way we understand it, the way we have experienced or lived it, does not exist anymore. It's already obliterated. There is nothing called school by the definition of school that we know it. Because the places or the organizations or the institutions that are going to open up post this lockdown would need a new definition. Because with 30% kids, with a lot of social distancing, I think even the financial and the basic business model that you say of a school doesn't work. A school works on a simple concept of small number of people handling a lot of people, but that's not going to be the case anymore. So how does a school change itself or redefine itself in the coming times is something that we all want to know. We initiated a white paper on the topic No Lockdowns on Learning when the lockdown began. We did the first 30 talks on that topic, and we selected 96 ideas from nearly 270 school leaders from across 60 geographies from the world. And those 96 ideas just got published yesterday, day before yesterday, in our magazine. And you can find those ideas on our social media, and you can use those ideas within your school. Just to give you a reference of the kind of innovations that schools are doing, there is a very small village, Padua in West Bengal. They don't have internet. So they gave a very innovative assignment to their students that create a custom dictionary at home where you have to add 5 new words every day and bring that dictionary to school once the school reopens. There is one school in Agra that asked its students to do a daily news report about their surroundings. That's what's happening around you. Tell us that. There is one school in Nepal. They started a class called Problem Solving Engineering that go into the kitchen, find what your mother faces every day in her daily operations and give it an engineering solution. They right now have devised a lot of engineering devices that help mothers. Then there's one school in, I suppose, Odisha. They started something called a wisdom diary that list what good you do in the day and list what bad you do in the day. And once the school reopens, we'll know where your wisdom is. Do you judge things well or not? So people have been doing some amazing stuff. And we are sharing those ideas for a lot of the more schools so that they can implement and experiment and find out which of these ideas is scalable, is usable in the coming times. Because right now, the whole education sector is seeing a very big shift. When the world saw globalization and the economy is boosted, the world, initially we were a seller's market. The seller used to decide that what the buyer will buy. But once the economy evolved, it turned into a buyer's market. The buyer decided what he wanted and the brands provided it. And this coronavirus has actually become that very stimulus that has changed the whole education system from a school's ecosystem to a learner's ecosystem. Now the students decide whether they want to listen to you or not. And once this lockdown comes to an end, we will again have to bring them back from one-to-one learning to one-to-many learning. So how will we see that transition? What all new will we be doing in the post-lockdown school? Let's find out all that from you in the next 20 or 30 minutes that we have from you. Before I start, I just want to share a statement that just, I think, 2 or 3 days back, we had the principal of Kalinga Institute from Odisha. They are a very innovative institute. They teach more than 50,000 tribal children on a campus without charging any fees. And we had their principal come to speak to us here. And he gave a very nice sentence. I just like the sentence. That's why I'm sharing it with you. A school is supposed to be a place that teaches everybody to come close, get well knitted. And now we are all in a paradox, and we have to teach a paradox. We have to teach social distancing. So how will we do that? How will this system react to all these things? Let's know your opinions, your ideas. Within your 2 minutes and 30 seconds, try to give us your introduction. Second, what innovative did you do during the lockdown? And third, what do you think? Any idea, any new thing that you think would be useful for other schools in the post-lockdown world? And yes, we know that a lot of us will be using a lot of sanitization, a lot of hand sanitizers, and a lot of activities or notifications that the government gives. Try to share an idea that you think would be more useful and beyond these operations. So let's hear it from you now. Let's first hear it from Naina ma'am. Naina ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Hi, this is Miss, hello. Yeah, this is Miss Naina Chowre from Kalyan Helibari International School, CBSE board. And I would like to first of all say good evening to all the fellow friends and more importantly to the Blub World Web Talks, you and your team for organizing such talks so that we cross-functional associates, we come together and we come to understand actually the ideologies and we update ourselves. So talking about this post-lockdown, like what we would be doing in the post-lockdown in our, you can say, schools, I will only say that we need to reskill and upskill ourselves. I feel once the situation starts to stabilize, we need to understand now, since this pandemic, which has hit the world, unfortunately, if we take it positively, as we all know that education is our learners, and we learned a lot, and we always pass it on to the fellow students. So what we have learned from this is, we have learned, first of all, adaptability. So what we have learned, adaptability, we have learned patience, perseverance, and we have learned the quality and the quantity of time. Now, as you know, all the students and the parents and the full society and all the sectors are in a chaos. The most important for us in the education sector, because we are the ones who make the next generation, you know. So what we got to do is, first of all, to understand what we could do best to stabilize them mentally. That's what I feel. Because all are chaotic, as you rightly said. The students will be in no mood to listen or to go to schools or to, you know, even understand what is going on or to go out of homes because they are enjoying the online teaching now. But then I feel, I'm very confident, we Indians are stubborn. And we are stubborn in a way that we remold ourselves very easily, and we face the situation better. So I feel we can handle this situation more effectively in the future times to come when the school will reopen. So needless to say, I feel the students are going to take it positively. They must be missing school equally. So first of all, what we would like to do is set some attractions to them, which they have not been doing so far at home. At home, they are with their own teacher, with one, you can say every day, the more monotonous thing for them, you know, to go. And then most of the students who are very smart, they will be, you know, adding some words like we can't disconnect or can't connect sort of things, which I have come across some parents say stating that. So we need to collaborate now. We need to accept our differences, learn from the diversities as you have arranged this. You have given a common platform for all of us. So for me, first with Helibari Kalyan will be, first of all, I have developed a way, I've restructured my syllabus and my academics in such a way that first of all, I will stabilize the situation mentally for the parents and the students. Because what I feel is, this is the need of the hour, to not only create psychopaths, skilled psychopaths, or, you know, educated maniacs, but also good human beings. So if I think each school should update themselves, make it mandatory to update their school with a class of life. As this pandemic, as you rightly said, the students, many schools have, been doing certain practicals. What I will do in my school now, post this lockdown, is I will start one class whereby I will definitely teach the students, girls and the boys, irrespective of the sex, how to sew, how to change tires, how to change oil, how to go in the kitchen. So this is what I feel is the need of the hour, to make them, to teach them this life lesson, face life strongly, because this pandemic unexpectedly came, but it definitely taught us so many things. Take us positively, right? So to conclude, I will only say that let parents, whoever are watching this or whoever are going to hear, take this position of pandemic as some positive, you can say, gift from God, whereby they can utilize this time to reinvent, the teachers and the parents reinvent the relation with the students or with their kids, and befriend and understand what challenges and the struggles their generation is facing. This
Thank you so much, ma'am. We had to cut. The time limit was over. But thank you so much. And whatever attractions or syllabus restructuring you are doing, try to share it with us. We'll share it with a lot more people. Before I move to the next speaker, I would just like to say one thing. The focus of this activity, or the reason why this activity is being done, is simple. We are all coming in from the education sector. We are all educationists or learners at some point of time. Every section of the society is contributing to society right now with its own capabilities. The farmers are taking care of food, police is taking care of security, doctors are taking care of your medicine. As educationists, we just got a new responsibility, and that is to create the next knowledge that the world would need. So build a habit of creating an observation paper every evening on what do you see changing in the K-12 sector, because these observation papers will actually become the new knowledge bank that the world would need post this corona and post this lockdown. And this is our duty to actually create that knowledge bank. So that's what we are expecting from all of you. So thank you so much again. Let's now hear it from the next leader. And there's a very nice idea that I wanted to share. Ma'am said we have to now restructure time. You have to understand one thing. A very nice idea or very nice thing is being done by one of the schools in, I think, Northeast and somewhere. That's the Springdale International School, I think Guwahati. They started a concept called balance sheet of time. They've told students to create a balance sheet every evening of the way they spend their time whole day, and consider time as money and build a balance sheet of time. So we are creating an observation paper on that, and we'll be sharing it with a lot of schools so that you can also implement and see how it works for you. Let's now hear it from Sahaya, ma'am. Ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
A very good evening to you all. And it's been a great pleasure to be part of this podium right now, and with such wonderful education leaders and Blub World. Thank you for this opportunity. And ours is a village school. We have been part in the southernmost part of India, a village school, but still we anticipated this long lockdown from January, as we have been closely watching this news and all that. So we quickly informed the parents also to get ready with the internet, and those who didn't have also, they did. Almost 90% of the students were getting the internet. And on April 1st, we started our online coaching, which is just a very big effort a school in the village could give. And I thank the parents for that. Though it is online coaching, teachers had to learn a lot. See, it's a village school, so naturally, we appoint only the local teachers, give preference for them. And the training for the teachers were also done within 10 to 15 days in March. And the adaptability, as ma'am said, is amazing. We Indians have this flexibility a lot. I have worked in abroad, and I have found that Indians are too flexible because we always have a determined survival mind. So the survival really pushed us to learn the technology, which we were really hesitant and making fun of it also. We were just making fun of all this online coaching, says that the teacher cannot be replaced and all that. Now also, we are very sure Teacher cannot be replaced, but teacher can adapt it and make the technology in her control. So the machine is under the control of the teacher. So the teacher knows what to give, and every day my children are learning it. And post Corona, also this will continue. I have structured it in such a way that the syllabus cannot be completed directly in all the 6 or 7 months we get, but still we are very strong, and spoke to all the teachers, and we have structured the syllabus in such a way it will go for blended learning. So teachers are already in the verge of taking videos and keeping everything ready. It will be sent to the children, and they will learn and bring it, come ready to learn further in the classroom, so that the time can be adjusted. Also, now the children are more at home, and they learn all the other questions that has been necessary. They are close to the parents, they are close to the grandparents, they are calling up their relatives and find out. Most of all, they have a feeling that the others should also be okay. The concern for the others. So far, nobody bothered whether anybody has got fever, sick, or this, that, and all. Now, everybody is saying that my relative, my neighbor, my neighborhood, the people, all that, and they start to pray for the whole nation, whole world, that everything should be okay. That kind of emotion they are tied up with. So when they come to school, also it should be improved. So the empathy and the sympathy character in each child will definitely be little higher than whatever they were before. We will improve on based on that, and we have got some plans to continue with setting up classes, going and visiting orphanages, old age homes, and all that. All the Shraddha they will be doing, along with a part of the school will be used for cultivation and vegetation, because whatever we had, nobody ran around and bought clothes or things or anything, but they went for only masala, rice, vegetables. So we know what is very essential for life. So simple life will be taught to the students. We know minimalization will be taught to the students along with the value education they have. That is the post-corona of Dharni International School. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think teaching minimalism would be something amazing that you'll be
Yes.
doing. And we'd be very happy to share your ideas with a lot more schools if you share some kind of a curriculum plan or anything that you've made for teaching minimalism, because this is what would be needed in the coming times. So before we proceed to the next guest, there's a very nice thing that one of the schools was doing. I just forgot that. I'll share it in the coming times, but this was a very nice idea being done by one of the schools in, I still don't remember the location. No issues. I'll remember it in the coming times. So I'll share that with you. So right now we're all trying to restructure our syllabuses, trying to restructure the way we'll be handling the school. Just to give you an idea or a thought, there's one school in Surat, now I just remembered. There's one school in Surat which has actually devised a new fee structure, and they have given parents an option that whether if you want to do homeschooling for your kid or you want to do shift schooling for your kid. If you want to send him to shift, then there's a different tuition fees to it. If you homeschool him, there's a different fees to it. The school will take care of both. So in most of the metros and big cities where there are big crowds in a school and the building is small, we don't have a lot of big spaces to play. This is going to be a good idea. This Surat school has already launched these two fee structures, and a lot of parents have opted for homeschooling, and they've started that module completely and doing that very well. So we'll be sharing their learnings as well with a lot of more principals, and that you can also experiment, because that's going to be needed, because we cannot have all the children come to school 7 days a week. We'll have to make shifts, because with 30% people and social distancing, I don't think any school has that kind of an infra, because this was not required to be there. Let's now hear it from Eileen. Ma'am, over to you for the next 2 minutes. You can unmute your audio.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eileen Jethro, and I am the principal of a school in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Well, to tell you, to begin with, there is a Chinese proverb that I would like to begin with. It says that when the winds of change blow, some people build walls, others build windmills. So for me, it is all about building windmills right now. And like my friends before me have spoken, adaptability is what is the most important thing right now. Coronavirus, I do feel that this pandemic has been overhyped a little bit. Before this, we've had the Spanish flu, which is much, much larger. I don't know why we are even talking about the Spanish flu, because after that, much after the Spanish flu, we had the Asian flu and the Hong Kong flu, which took up over 4 million lives. Right now, we're not even close to that, and we're talking about Spanish flu and changes. We've had world wars and we're talking about changes. Nothing has changed really. So we get back to being what we were very soon. That's human nature. As educationists, I feel instead of thinking about curriculum, the one thing that we need to be thinking about, and which I will personally be doing in my school, is build those windmills. I have thought of 5 areas where my school should be improving upon, and those 5 areas are: one is naturally the student for which the school is. So there has to be a little more involvement of the child, of the student, into the things that we were doing till now. We were already doing a lot of involvement, but the student agency will have to be a little bit more involved. Second is leadership, wherein a little more of dissemination of leadership will have to be done. Again, it's all about involvement, so that the vision of the school is equally shared, which was being done. I'm not saying it was not being done. It will have to be done at a larger scale henceforth. The third one being community, again involvement. The community will have to be involved a little more in the process of education. And finally, we'll have to create of a climate of achievement, a climate of involvement that has to be there in the school, so that achievement is not fixed to the marks that they get, but fixed to how involved they are in the community at large. So for me, these are the first four, and the final one being, we'll have to adapt ourselves to the research and the findings that we get from this pandemic. So these are my 5. The mantra is going to be inclusion, and that inclusion is going to be the building of the windmill. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think student involvement, leadership dissemination, community involvement, climate of achievement, research from this pandemic is actually the essence of it. And a lot of schools are trying to do it. But this time the focus should actually be on research, because the ways and the means and the ideas that we need in the coming times cannot come from just one source. A lot of minds are required to build a great mind. And we have a lot of minds to make great. So it's going to be a difficult or a different time for all of us. Simultaneously with these talks, we are doing some talks with some students, we are doing some talks with parents, and we are doing some talks with teachers. And we have given them a very new and innovative topic, the future teacher or the teacher's future. So right now, you'll all have to think on one line on your HR policies. Because if you are going to operate your school in 2 shifts, would teacher be a full-time job? Would it be a half-day engagement? Will it be a full-day engagement? If you're in the first half, would you have the energy for teaching in the second half? Or will there be a completely new set of teachers? And what does it imply on the cost? Yes, ma'am, please.
I think I kept my 30 seconds for a little later. So,
Please.
what I want to add here is that when we're talking in terms of India, why are we, I'm not saying we're not looking at it, but are we also considering the fact that we all work on different time schedules? My friend Sahaya and me, we are working, for us it is holidays, it is vacation going on. I don't know why online classes were overhyped so much, but because in the North India, there are schools going on, so the country is running around after online. So for us, post lockdown is not going to be any different. It's going to be back to school, and again, of course, as a school we might have to make a few changes, but other than that, there's nothing really new happening in our lives. We were on holidays are over from 1st of June, maybe from the 15th of June. KG anyway is going to open only by 15th of June, so there's nothing new really that has happened. The hills are the ones that have got affected badly. They are the ones who need to. So when you're talking about policy makers, I'm wondering whether this is being overlooked completely, because I'm not heard anybody speaking differently about different parts of India, because we operate differently actually. Thank you.
Absolutely. Actually, the reason why online classes
Can
started.
I speak one minute? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with the ma'am. But since it's become global talk, globally, whatever they do, people expect. We are living in a very remote village. 40% of my parents don't know to read, write. They cannot sign in the diary. They expect the children to speak in English, and we try our best to do that. Ma'am said, why we run online class? We have to run to keep up the child back to school. Competition is so tough. Very coolly they will say they won't pay the fee, just like any other school you also have. So I'll put my child in the other school. So just to keep them on the track, not getting diverted to, it is survival again. And of course, we don't do it only for survival, but with a much more concern. You know, the teacher's salary is not paid in full, but the teachers never ask the management why I should work for the child. Even when I said, teachers, you can reduce your burden and be cool, take one class per day. They don't listen. They just do it. They say, we are at home, ma'am, we'll do it. It is not for the salary, but we have a concern for the children. That is the thing. Thank you.
Actually, the reason why online classes were initiated in most of the schools was in Northern India, a lot of schools were not able to finish their examinations. A lot of schools had to take their final examinations on Zoom calls, on exams.net, on a lot of different platforms. And the most critical part was that the children who were supposed to come into the board classes, the 10th or the 12th, they normally initiate during this time in Northern India. So a lot of teaching actually had to start. And completion of the course was a big issue here. So it was actually not very mandated, or there was not a lot of pressure to start online classes, but it proved out to be a very good de-stressing way for a lot of parents and students, because you were giving them very good engagement through online classes. But now, since it has started, a lot of schools have started pushing academics through these classes, it has become a bit redundant, and right now parents are not very happy with the online classes that are going on. They right now want, yes ma'am, Nana ma'am, I'll come to you, I'll give you a minute. So a lot of people are not right now appreciating online classes. But there's one thing for sure. EdTech has now come in and it's there to stay. And we had a very nice observation after these many talks that most of the EdTech platforms or the EdTech things that we're using, a lot of education technology that we're using, most of those do not solve education issues. They solve communication issues. So education's issues still remain with us. So we'll still have to find solutions, because it's not because of this pandemic. It is simply because a lot of jobs have been lost and they don't exist anymore due to technology. And what we are teaching, are those skills actually tech resistant? Do they still exist when tech comes in? We'll have to judge the skills that we are giving to a student, that after 10 years or 10 years down the line, would those skills be able to give him employment? Will they be able to give him a livelihood? So that's what we need to think on. Mena, I want to say something, please.
For me, online education, with due respect to the schools who are going ahead with online education, but I feel it should not be enforced. I feel it should be according to it should be modified according to the children. It should not be entitled for 4 hours or 5 hours. It should be adapted in such a way that it becomes playful. Plus, at the same time, it educates the kid also. Because if once it goes in the brain of the child that they are getting bored, then we can't control this future generation at all, I feel. So, because we are Indians and we are adaptable for face-to-face teaching. Guru Shishya method, as we all know. So face-to-face teaching, of course, has traditional progressive teaching has different advantages. So I feel online should not be enforced. That's what I feel. It has to go with the flow now. Let's see how this pandemic is going to take us, where it is going to lead. But I think our full focus should be whereby the kids actually have a face-to-face interaction with the teacher. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Also, are we even prepared for it? Recently, they're talking about Zoom bombing. And right now, I think what we are talking is of a completely different league. There are schools that are of a different league altogether, where children are so much already into technology, they know much more than we do. We are talking about children who are, very basic. They are not yet introducing also. We are not tech ready. We are not ready. As a country, we are not ready.
Absolutely. The reason why this discussion was initiated is simply because we start building new curriculum. We start building what we want to teach them. Because what we learned after so many talks that we actually need two skills, which we do not teach in a school right now. And these two skills are very easy to teach, but super difficult to evaluate. So you don't know whether you actually taught them or not. The first one being creativity. Creativity not in the sense of drawing and painting. Creativity in the sense of divergent thinking, critical thinking. Actually teaching a child to think that how do you think? How do you solve problems? Teaching them problem solving models the world has defined till now. Second and most important, we all, like very good politicians, shifted the whole generation that we had with us. We always told them, don't use the phone, don't be on tech so much. And right now we want all of them to be on tech.
Yeah.
We've been super diplomatic with that. So since we have done that, there's one very big skill that needs to be taught, and we don't know how to do it. And that actually comes from the bare meaning of the word knowledge. The genesis of the word knowledge comes from two words, knowing and ledge. So knowing your ledge, that's where knowledge comes from. And that's wisdom. We never taught them that. We had a utopian dream of teaching value education. And right now, this pandemic was the perfect time, or is the perfect time to teach value education with the perfect teacher. That's the parent.
Correct.
This should have been super used. So the reason why we have initiated this discussion is just to give a stimulus so that a lot of research happens, and it happens on ground, and it happens through experimentation, not by ideation, not by our divergent thinking, but by a lot of trial and errors. And that's why every school should right now become the innovation center, where you should actually find out that yes, this one difference in the curriculum will make a lot of difference in my children's life. That's why I said try to create more and more observation papers. We are trying to publish the best papers that we get, and we're doing a very small competition called India's most creative school. So if you, your teachers, your parents, anybody who's doing anything creative or innovative that is going to change education or schools, share that with us. It's a free competition to participate, and there is a cash prize. The reason to keep a cash prize is so that we can find the small little big innovation that's happening anywhere. So I would just request everybody who has joined this call, try to create observation papers. Before this talk comes to an end, I would just request again, once again, try to create knowledge, because this is the right time. The whole world is a lab to you. Use it the best you can. And thank you so much for taking out the time and being with us. If you enjoyed this talk and want to attend the future ones, you can unmute your audio, say a big yes. In some days, we are doing a talk.
Yes.
Yes.